Go ahead and share my screen. So I won't take a lot of time for feedback here on the call to delay the meeting, but would encourage, especially CX, 'cause I don't know how much you've seen this. I know Giorgio shared a video that he posted to YouTube. Maybe you've seen that, but please send Slack messages with any feedback that you have. I have feedback from many people that I still have yet to apply. And I'll talk through some of those things as I go through this. So we're looking at the homepage for Storytell, and I am in a logged in state. When I'm not logged in, we will have a menu bar up at the top, which has kind of the traditional marketing stuff, use cases, about us, the things that are on the main Storytell website. And when you click one of those, you would leave and you would go over to the marketing site. Also in the top right, you would see sign in and register, or sign up, sign in prompts. We have a menu that slides to the left here. And you can also click to dock the menu if you want it to be open all the time. One of the things that I'll be making an adjustment is to this navigation bar, so that you'll see to the left, you'll actually see the bar kind of always in a collapsed state with little icons. So you can go right to chats or assets or something like that. And so you'll see some more icons on the left-hand side here. One other piece of feedback that I need to implement is that when you click some of these, the left-hand nav will expand. And so you can imagine like another layer comes out here, which would be like a hero menu. And so you can do a lot through this left-hand panel without actually having to navigate away from whatever page that you are on. Now, as we look at the prompt bar here, some of the other feedback that I need to implement is this control is going to change. I believe it's going to become a select that explains a lot more about all these different modes. With the 3 modes that we have here, and we're only going to launch with 2 of them, is the agent mode, which we'll play with today. The chat mode, which is very much like Storytell today, traditional chat, where we may do a web search. We will search the internal knowledge base, but we're not going to do a bunch of tool calls or produce PowerPoint documents or things like that. And then we also have our automation builder. And so this is how you would create a repeatable workflow that might run anytime an asset is uploaded or a concept is discovered, or maybe every Sunday at midnight, something like that. I'll get us back into agent mode here. At the bottom, we have this little informational billboard. And so this is a space where we can educate the user, guide them, inform them, and it will be personalized to them and their experience. So for example, if you've never uploaded a file, it might prompt you to do that. If we've released a new feature like auto improving your prompts, we might educate them here, especially if they've never used that. Maybe we're running a webinar, we might choose to put that display here, etc. These controls are also going to go through some change here. This is an indication of how many credits that I have available. Stephen has asked me to take it out of the prompt bar, and so we're going to move it up here to the left. So in a logged in registered state, I'll have an indication of how many credits right about here. And then it will also appear in the flyout, kind of in the same spot. Now, when we go to interact with the credits that we have, you can see what plan I'm on, how many credits I have available, and then what's the rate that my credits replenish. And so this is one of the bigger changes in V3 is that every time you use the system, you're going to be consuming credits. And you can, as a free user, you'll have a certain amount of credits. And as a paid user, you'll have different amounts of credits as well. And so we can look at our pricing plans here. All this information is in the process of being finalized. But we're looking at a free plan that lets you get a taste, a sample, a free cookie. Then you can move up into a pro plan where you're getting a certain amount of credits a month. And on the pro plan, if you've exhausted all of your credits, you'll be able to purchase more credits without having to change your plan. And so it's kind of a pay per drink model. You subscribe to a plan, you get a certain amount of usage, but if you're really using it, you can buy like additional credit packs for these plans. Same for the team plan, which includes even more features. You can collaborate, you can integrate, things like that. And then there's an unlimited plan for our enterprise users, where you would go through the MSA process, and then they have lots of enterprise features that they'll be able to hook into, like maybe we're going to use their API keys to talk to OpenAI or Claude or whatever models they prefer. They'll be able to specify which models are allowed and not allowed, and things that organizations care about. We'll go ahead and close the pricing page. Now, as we click into the settings icon here, you can see we can manage our knowledge sources and choose our model. This is going to go through some change based on the feedback that I've already received to be more educational. We have the ability to talk into the microphone and have it put our prompt in. And so we can do that. And we also have the ability to drag files into the prompt bar and drop them in. And that's what that does. So I'm going to go do a playback here. Just a quick one I did earlier. I try to do playbacks as much as possible. I'm going to run this at a 1 speed. Actually, you know what? We'll just do a live one here. Let's say, today I learned that Couchbase is being acquired by a private equity firm. Tell me the details. And so as we work through here, the steps are largely the same, I think, as they were in the last demonstration, but the UI has changed quite a bit. We have the ability to see what the thinking is, but we're not overwhelming the user with a bunch of generated data. Right now I have the mode set to auto expand and leave everything expanded because it's helping me with development. But by default, these things would collapse as soon as we're done printing to each of these. And then as soon as an individual operation is done or step, the operation will automatically collapse unless the user has interacted. So if I've copied something or highlighted it or expanded it myself, we will leave it open in the state that the user was working with. So I'm just going to take a moment to read through these and see what the model is doing here. It thinks it's a straightforward structure. It can't handle it directly because it's recent business. It can't solve it from training data. It needs to know about certain details, private equity, when was the acquisition announced. It's pretty confident. And so it would provide a direct response, but it needs external information. So it's not going to provide a direct response. So then the next thing is it went through and it's going to analyze intent. It's identifying entities such as Couchbase and some private equity firm. It knows that we're working in English. For those who are bilingual, that's one of the things I'll ask for you help in testing, is that one of my goals is that everything is translated and presented in languages other than English. It thinks that it's not an ambiguous request. Now the detail level should be detailed, etc. Now it's planned a strategy. And so it's figuring out, what do I want to accomplish? What's the most logical way to break this down? It wants to search the knowledge base, search the web, and then generate an artifact. It's figured out how these steps should work together, what might go wrong. and then kind of what the criteria is for judging if we've successfully delivered on this task for the user. So then it went out and did a knowledge base search, and I don't have any knowledge in my knowledge base related to this, so I've got no results there. And so then it went out and it searched and it found some tax ask question. That's interesting. And then it generated an answer. And looking at this, I don't think this is a good answer because I don't think it was Bain Capital Private Equity, or maybe that's another name they go by.
No, it's wrong, I think.
Yeah, it's wrong too.
Dates are wrong too.
Yeah, so not a good answer in this case. Looks like the information on web search is just too recent because this just happened. But we can see the artifact. I saw Andy, you're going to talk about editing, so I'm not going to talk about this much more. And we can see that we're done and how many tokens. I've got a bug here in the UI where it's not showing the ingress tokens, just the egress tokens. But for every one of these steps in the back, on the other side of the napkin, if you will, we're counting all of the tokens and which vendors or services those tokens are from. And so, for example, we've used OpenAI search here, and we've used Claude 3.7 to work on these models or these questions. And so there's a table that's counting tokens for OpenAI and tokens for Claude. And if there was another model call or some other tool call, all of those details, bytes, and tokens and all that are being accounted for so that we can then deduct the credits. And that's that. One more thing I'll talk about before I hand it over is I'm going to go back to the homepage. One of the other things that we have planned here is some type of an indicator at the bottom, which is see what Storytell can do for you or something like that. And then when you click that, this would all scroll down, and then you would have use cases. And those use cases will use this kind of playback feature. And so I'm going to speed up the playback to 20. And this is a recording of some previous conversation. And you can see we're playing it back. And so as part of our launch strategy here, whether they're automations or chats or agent activities that we curated, or maybe we work with users to highlight and promote things that they've done. We can use the product to demonstrate the product. And I think that's the last planned change for the homepage here. There's a bunch of other little things that we'll do as we get out there. We'll A/B test lots of little things like, is the background image a good thing or not? Is the content in the pill good? Is it better to have a switch or a select? And so we'll have lots of experiments to see what's actually working and what's not working.